Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Patik Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Harinama Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Mira 6B201. Yes, I have some more. Dandavat Pranama Vaishnavas.
Dandavat Pranama Vaishnavas.
So we will begin with Mangalacharan. Page 1 of this book, Shri Gauriya Giti Guccha, Vandeham, Shri Guru, Shri Yuta Padakamalam. And Mangalacharan means the auspicious invocation, calling for the mercy, the grace, the sidelong glance, the blessings of our Guru Varga from our own Gurudev, going all the way up the line through Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the way to the original Guru who is Krishna, and his Guru of Prem, that is Srimati Radhika. 1 second. Please forgive me. You know, they say, yeah, I got it, and then they just... Radhe Radhe. Mira 6B201. No, B for Baldev, Baldev. B.
Baldev, Balihari.
ठीक है? No, B for Banke Bihari. Bihari ji. B. Bihari ji. ठीक है? Radhe Radhe. Sorry. I can't tell you how many times I've had to do that. It's kind of normal. You know, people say yes, yes, and then you realize that they didn't take a note, they didn't understand, although you told them, and still 5 times later then it needs to manifest. There we are. Okay. Wow. I was trying to be quiet and the microphone was here, so everyone heard every detail. I was hiding my mouth like this.
Okay, start.
ठीक है. Jai. B for Banke Bihari. Everyone knows Bihari ji here.
B for Varshana.
Yeah, but sometimes they say Varshana, so. ठीक है. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurung Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunaischa Yuktam वरं वरेण्यं पुरुषं महान्तं नारायणं त्वां शिरसन्नमामि त्रिदन्दिनं भक्तशिरोमणिं च श्रीकृष्णपादाब्जतैकहृदि चैतन्यलीलामृतसारसारं नारायणं त्वां सततं प्रपद्ये नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय गौरप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमद्भक्तिप्रज्ञानो केशव इति नामिने अतिमर्त्यच्छरित्राय स्वश्रितानां च पालिने जीवदुःखे सदर्ताय श्रीनाम प्रेमदायिने नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती इति नामिने श्रीवर्षभानवी देवी दयिताय कृपाब्धये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञान दयिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वलप्रेमाद्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दिनतारिणे रूपानुगविरुद्धापसिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद्वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसाम्बोधे पदाम्बुजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवरायते गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टः सजनप्रिय वैष्णवः सर्वभौम श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतोपङ्गुर्मम मन्दमतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदाम्बोजो राधा मदनमोहन दिव्यद्वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्री राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेव प्रेष्ठालिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भी वंशिवतस्ततः कर्षन् वेणुस्वनैर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथ श्रियस्तु नः वृन्दाये तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahādavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Ashwadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Harer Nam Harer Nam Harer Nam Eva Kevalam Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyatha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Dandava Pranama Vaishnavas. Sudevi, I think someone's trying to call you. Or is it me? Someone's trying to call me, never mind. Sorry. That Kishori Prabhu from Pune. Now we will call out for the mercy of Shri Gurudev. Jai Jai Shri Guru Prema Kalpataru, page 29 in our Gaudiya Gita Guccha. If you do not have this Shri Gaudiya Gita Guccha Bhajan Treasure Trove, then you can just scroll to the most recent post of Jiva Pavana Prabhu, and there you will find the bhajan. So page 29, Jai Jai Shri Guru Prema Kalpataru by Vaishnava Das. Jayo Jayo Shri Guru Prema Kalpataru Jayo Jayo Shri Guru Prema Kalpataru Adbhuta Jako
Patito he
chito moheno patito heri jo pahu chachi deyalo Chachi deyalo harinam Duramati agati satataya shate mati Duramati agati te mati nahi sukriti lavalesh nahi sukriti lavalesh Shri Jaya Prabhu Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Guru Parampara ki jai. Today our local helicopter made a few trips and kicked up quite a bit of dust. I see a question: how did I learn all these tunes, which sound so authentic? For many years during Kartik and during the festivals that our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta, Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja would attend around the world, he also traveled with Krishna Das Prabhu, and usually during Kartik there were two main singers, Krishna Das Prabhu and Tamal Krishna Prabhu. And Gurudev ordered me to always be there as part of that kirtan team. So sitting next to them, year after year, day after day, over time, I learned many of the tunes. That one I learned from Tamal Krishna Prabhu, and so many of the others I learned from Krishna Das Prabhu. And I recorded them also and published their recordings over the years. The best ones that at least the ones that I thought were the best. And so, Gurudev told me that I should learn like Krishna Das Prabhu, and I have 1,000,000 miles to go to actually be like him. He knew that what Srila Gurudev wanted, he could sense it even if Gurudev was going to change a subject. Before Gurudev changed the subject, Krishna Das knew what subject he was going to change to and what bhajan was appropriate to sing for that moment. So it wasn't random, there was always some intention behind it. And Gurudev said that of all of his singers, Krishna Das is number one. He of course liked the high and loud voice. So Kandi ba uchai srade, Krishna Das would definitely take the cake for that one. His voice would go so high, sometimes Tamal Krishna Brahmachari would bow out. I'm not going to try to copy that note. And Krishna Das would kind of signal us like, can you hit that note? And we couldn't hit it. But Gurudev said of all of his singers, Krishna Das was number one. Of course, back in the day, we also learned so much from Sudarshan Prabhu, some from Sadhu Maharaj, who used to be known as Gauranga, and Gurudev did say that. He said, of all my male kirtan singers, Krishna Das is number one, and of my female, Sudevi is number one. She would also sing very high. So, and Gurudev, back in the day, let me tell you, he was number one in terms of his kirtan. So, now we're going to call out for the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Ohe Vaishnava Thakur, Doyar Sagar, Edase Koruna Kori. Page 39 by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. No, it is not the same Krishna Das who performed at the Grammy Awards in America. Krishna Das Prabhu is from Bengal. In case you've heard it, especially those who come from Hindi-speaking background, when I sing Hindi, sometimes I have a slight Bengali accent. That's because I learned those Hindi bhajans from native Bengali speakers. So, like, instead of Gurudev Kripa Karke, they would have a little bit of a korke, like that. So, sometimes people, when we do programs in the homes of people from India with a Hindi-speaking background, they would say, your pronunciation is good, but it has a slight Bengali accent. And I figured, well, of course, we learned it from the natives from Bengal. So the Krishna Das, the really famous Krishna Das, who sang at the Grammy Awards is not the same Krishna Das. That one is a disciple of Neem Karoli Baba, and he's different, a different line, also a different mood than our Gaudiya Vaishnavas who focus exclusively on Krishna. I'm not going to go into any detail, but from my understanding, to listen to subscribe to put attention to anyone who is not exclusively devotional to the personality of Godhead, and specifically Krishna, for us, it is not necessarily favorable for us to associate with in so many different ways. And I'm telling you now because we go to the homes of so many people, so many devotees who listen constantly. But if you hear the explanations given about Maha Mantra, there's quite a lot of what we call Mayavad conception present within it. And for those who are aspiring to become devotees of Krishna, we should understand that these conceptions actually hit Krishna's heart like a thunderbolt, and that is in Krishna's own words. So the idea of, well, it's Maha Mantra, so it's all good, this idea is actually false. It's not necessarily.
Explain that. It's Maha Mantra, so it's all good.
I'm explaining it. It's not necessarily all good. What is Maha Mantra? It is not just the sound of the letters. There is Nam Aparad, offensive chanting. There are different levels of offensive chanting. Certain kinds of chanting of Krishna's names and glories. Krishna doesn't accept anything from it. In fact, he considers it to be very offensive to himself. There's chanting with the mood of aparad, against affection to Krishna's devotees. He doesn't accept that either as devotion. Then there's general namaparad, simple offenses that we make. Not just sadhu ninda, that one is the first one, offenses to the Vaishnavas. But after that there are other things, being somewhat lacking or uncaring, considering the names of the devas to be equal to or independent from the name of Krishna, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. That one is actually considered the most severe namapara, but we won't go into that. There are so many different kinds of offenses to the holy name. And the result of namaparad, or offensive chanting, is the increase of material wealth, material sense gratification, kamani, and name, fame, position, adoration, power, pratishta, kanaka kamani and pratishta. This is the result of offensive chanting. Then there is namabhas. Namabhas is not the pure name, but it is no longer offensive chanting. It is the stage of chanting wherein it is seen that very soon, the name will manifest. So I see the dim reflection of the light just about to manifest over the horizon, and you can feel the closeness coming. This is namabhas. Even one namabhas, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, it is no exaggeration to say that even one namabhas can alleviate millions of famines of this world. So what kind of faith do we have in the holy names? And of course, Shuddhanam, one pure name, even part of the pure name of Krishna, this is sufficient to awaken Krishna Prem. And this is sufficient to bless the entire world. Sudevi, what did you want to add? So there is a difference in the quality of who's chanting. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he also gave some examples about different kinds of chanting. He said we're not after the syllables, but we're after the name with life. Where's that living source? And two examples have been given in this connection. One is if you have a gun and you have a bullet with no lead, it's just the gunpowder. So when you pull the trigger, you hear a loud sound, but what is the effect of it? There's no effect. It's the loud sound. He said, so we should not hear it from a dead source. We should hear it from the living source, the potent source. And the other example that is given is of a woman who goes to the hospital, to the pregnancy ward, and she starts breathing and screaming as if she's having a baby. But she was never pregnant in the first place. So what will the result be? Well, she won't have a baby because she wasn't pregnant. So there's a difference between pure chanting, which has potency, namabhas, which is in between, then offensive chanting and very offensive chanting. And we should make sure that we don't give them equal position. It doesn't mean that we don't include people in kirtan, but our Srila Gurudev told us that we should not use our instruments, Mahaprabhu's instruments, including our voices and our clapping, in the kirtan performed by Mayavadis, in Mayavadi kirtan. He said we cannot use Mahaprabhu's instruments in that kirtan. So, this is a very refined point, but also so essential for us. We've heard this example, that milk touched by the lips of a serpent will have a poisonous effect. Although it looks like milk, it tastes like milk, it feels like milk when it's going down your throat. Even in the beginning it might be very quenching, but if it has one drop of poison, then everything is spoiled. That's why our Guru Varga, our Guru Parampara have been so cautious to make sure that what they give is pure. Our Gurudev used this term pure bhakti. Srila Prabhupada used the term unalloyed devotional service. It's just another term for the same thing, pure bhakti. Unalloyed devotional service. And they wanted to make sure that it had no taint of anything else, so that when we accept it, it won't have any negative, poisonous effect. Srila Gurudev said that about what our 6 Goswamis have given us. He said, anything they have given us, we can trust 100%. It may be that in the Puranas, in the scriptures, so many different stories are given. And some, he said, are like juicy gossip to get your attention to somehow or other hear about subjects of Krishna. But he said there are some stories in the Puranas, he said, that can never be. He said Srimati Radhika would never curse anyone. Her heart is so soft. Vrishabhanunandini, Srimati Radhika, could never curse anyone. But in some Purana, there's some story where she's cursing someone. So he said some are stories like juicy gossip, just to get you to hear about Krishna. Oh, that's an interesting story. Okay, and then you'll hear more and more and more. And then gradually your heart will be purified. Something to take you away from the mundane stories of this world. But Śrīmad Bhagavatam, Pramanam, Amalam. Śrīmad Bhagavatam is considered the spotless evidence. Śrīmad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. This is told in Śrīmad Bhagavatam. It is the spotless, completely pure and transcendental Purana, and it is very dear to the Vaishnavas. There is nothing to throw out. It is the ripened fruit of all Vedic literatures, and it completely, from the beginning, Dharma projata kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. It throws out all kinds of concepts that are cheating. Kaitava dharma. Anything which is not pure religion of the Atma, of the soul, which is Bhagavat dharma, Nitya dharma. It rejects it right from the beginning and then establishes Bhagavat dharma as the highest truth. And therefore it is relishable by those who are pure in heart, who are free from envy, who are nirmatsaranam satam, and always truthful, thoroughly honest. So I just wanted to share that about Harinam or Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It is not the same for everyone. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is chanting the names of Krishna, he's chanting in the mood of Srimati Radhika. When our Guru Varga are chanting, when Rupa Goswami is chanting, Srila Gurudev asked the question, how many rounds does Rupa Goswami chant? No one knows. He said 1 ha. And immediately he was absorbed in Leela, in the pastimes of the Lord. Completely absorbed and serving within those pastimes. So how powerful is his chanting? When they're chanting, they are tasting something. Service. I was just reading it yesterday? Maybe today. Srila Gurudev was telling that when any pure devotee even says the name Radha or Krishna, immediately Radha and Krishna are manifest before them. And if they're manifest before them, then that person must be in the mood of serving them, naturally. So there's a massive difference between their chanting and my chanting. When I'm chanting, what am I thinking about? Maybe my problems, the things I have to do, how much my bills are. I have to fix this, I have to clean that, I have to do that, I have to get this medicine. Oh, or we remember something of the past, or that beautiful man or that beautiful woman, or my children, or whatever. We think about so many things in this world. And then we wonder, why is it that my chanting of Harinam is not uplifting me? Why am I not developing in my bhakti? Because really I'm not following the process. And one of the ways to actually go backward, which is very detrimental for our bhakti, is jana sangas, means associating with worldly minded persons. In the second verse of Upadeshamrita, Atyahara prayashascha prajalpo niyamagraha jana sangas chalolyamcha shadbhir bhaktir vinashyati. What is destructive to our inclination in bhakti? This one, jana sanga, associating with worldly minded persons. What is even worse than materialistically minded persons? Those who are offensive, actively offensive to Bhagavan and his devotees. That would be, as Mahaprabhu says, Mayavara bhasha shunaile hoy sarvanash. Just hearing these conceptions. That is through the medium of kirtan and katha. Hearing these conceptions, then everything will be destroyed. Hoy sarvanash means all of our inclination in bhakti. We will lose that. So there's a very strong warning. And the third verse of Upadeshamrita is telling all of the favorable things for bhakti. And among the favorable, it says, Sangatyaga. It is favorable to reject unfavorable association. So there's so much emphasis given to association, both accepting favorable association, satang prasangam mamavidya samvido, to associate with Vaishnavas, with devotees. But just as much as there is emphasis to associate with pure devotees, there is as much emphasis on avoiding association with those who will take us away from the path of devotion. So who we hear from, what we hear, how we hear, what kirtans we hear, what we do with our eyes and our ears, our time, how we devote our energy, and what kind of association we spend our energy in, this all affects our consciousness. This affects our inclination on the path of devotion. That's why it is essential that we always endeavor to be in the association of Vaishnavas physically as much as possible, so that when our tendency is to go toward the material energy, which it is, they will quickly grab us, maybe pull us by the ear, maybe smack us, maybe chastise us, or just warn us. Be careful, there's a cliff there. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, in his Upakyan Upadesh, he tells one story of a child on a roof, and he's flying a kite. And that child is backing up, trying to fly the kite, and he's just about to fall off the roof of his building. And a passerby is walking on the road beneath, and he starts screaming, be careful, you're about to fall, be careful. And that child and his family, his parents and everyone else, they look at that man and say, what's your problem? Mind your own business. Although that child is in danger of falling at any moment. So this is the nature of Sri Guru, the sadhus, the Vaishnavas. They see us, they see our very, very dangerous neglect of our soul, of Krishna. And they see how we are backing off this precipice, backing off the edge of the building, completely ignorant of what we're doing. And they start screaming to us. And we think, hey, why are you screaming at me? I've done nothing wrong, what's your problem? But really, they're just begging us to be careful, to do what's favorable. So we look at it from one perspective, but the reality may be another thing. So this association is essential. And some of us may wonder, after 20, 30, 40 years, I have not really progressed. Actually, I have degressed. I have gone backward. I've gone down. I'm not progressing or moving forward on the path of devotion. I'm not feeling any devotion. My heart is hard and dry more than it ever was. Srila Gurudev said we should investigate, we should feel our pulse, and we should try to find what flaw there is in our practice that is making that happen. When the devotees said to Gurudev, well, first I have to finish my Harinam. You will finish your Harinam? Difference of perspective. I have to finish my Harinam so I can do this. And Gurudev's like, I have to finish this so I can do my Harinam. How one adjusts their consciousness. That is the difference between mundane consciousness and Krishna consciousness. What is my priority? What is my priority? And if we are actually sincere, then anukulyasya sankalpa, we will make a firm resolution to accept into our lives only those things that are favorable for the awakening of love and devotion to Krishna into our lives. Anukulyasya sankalpa, that is the first principle of sharanagati, of surrender. And naturally, as an automatic side effect of that, but also actively, pratikulyasya varjanam. This is the second phrase, aphorism within the 6 symptoms of sharanagati. Pratikulyasya varjanam means make a firm resolution to avoid or reject whatever is unfavorable for my progress in bhakti. A lot of times we accept the one, but we don't pay attention to the next one. I accept all the favorable things, but I'm also doing all of the unfavorable things. This brings me to another katha that I've heard from our Srila Gurudev. Once there was a very, very unhealthy person. Very, very unhealthy. He was overweight. He was very sick. He had so many diseases. And he went to the doctor and begged the doctor for help. The doctor gave him a diet of fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, salads, fresh grains, all things that are good and sattvic. And he said, follow this diet and come back in a month, and then we will diagnose you again. So after a month, that man came back. He was even more obese, more unhealthy, diabetes through the roof, very, very sick and just about to die. And the doctor looked at him, what happened? Did you follow the diet I gave you? He said, yes. The doctor asked, you had all the salads, the fresh fruits, the vegetables, all of the sattvic foods I told you to take? And the man's like, yes, I did everything you told me to do. And the doctor said, did you give up all of the bad food you were taking, all of the donuts and the fried foods and all of those rich and spicy and oily and heavy foods? And pakoras and everything else you were eating. He's like, no, I just added what you told me to that diet. So he didn't give up any of the previous stuff. He only added what the doctor told him to give. And this made him even more unhealthy. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't do the things in bhakti, but we should try to gradually eliminate some of the other things. What is our capacity? If we only have so much capacity, if we're trying to put good things in, then we're going to have to eliminate some of the unfavorable. Srila Gurudev would also speak about this. He would tell us that there's a very dangerous time. Let me check something really quick. Forgive me. So he said there's a very dangerous period. The period between, or just before Nishtha, or between Nishtha and Ruchi. No, it was a period between Anartha Nivritti and Nishtha. Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha, then Bhajana Kriya, then Anartha Nivritti, then Nishtha, then Ruchi. So you're giving up your anarthas, but you have not yet attained a higher taste. That's like no man's land. I've given up so many things, but I don't have positive experience of this, the transcendental. So one I've done on faith, but I have not yet grabbed that. He said it's a very, very dangerous stage. At that time, we must be under guidance. Because what do we have to hold on to? If we're giving things up, we need to be accepting the positive things. We must be accepting the positive. Otherwise, we'll just go right back to where we were previously. Without anything higher, any higher taste. We seek naturally, we crave rasa. It's the nature of all jivas. It's the nature of Bhagavan. We crave relationship. It's our nature. We crave happiness and bliss. It's our nature. We crave eternal existence. It's our nature. It is part of our being. If we're not getting it somewhere, then we will naturally try to get it in any other location. Gurudev said that. He said, I've heard somewhere that humans are like social animals. If they're not feeling love and affection in one society, then naturally they will go to any other society where they can find love and affection. So this is a requirement of ours. But the most important requirement from now all the way into perfection and within perfection is sadhu sangha. It is the root cause of the awakening of Krishna bhakti in our life. And even after the attainment of perfection, still association with the pure devotees of the Lord is the most essential thing. And with that sadhu sangha, automatically all anarthas will be removed and all positive things will manifest in our hearts. What is that 45.00? Okay. So now we will sing Ohe Vaishnava Thakur. I hope you caught my... It looks like it froze. No, it didn't. What I was trying to say about associating. Who we listen to, we also affiliate ourselves with them. And if they don't have connection to Sri Guru or any mood which is favorable to devotion to Krishna, this will affect our consciousness. Where we eat from, this will affect our consciousness. What we talk about, this will affect our consciousness. What we imbibe through the medium of our senses, our eyes and ears, will affect our consciousness. And if we want to be conscious of Krishna, then we should fill our senses as much as possible with Krishna. Okay. Ohe Vaishnava Thakur by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur, page 39. Ohe Vaishnava Thakuro Doyaro Sagaro Edase Karuna Kori Vaishnava Thakuro Doyaro Sagaro Edase Karuna Kori Diyapado Chaya Shodho He Amare Diyapado Chaya Shodho He Amare Tomar Charana Dhori Tomar Charana Dhori Ohe Vaishnava Thakuro Doyara Sagaro Edase Karuna Kori Vaishnava Thakuro Doyara Sagaro Edase Karuna Kori Chaya Begodomi Chaya Dosha Shodhi Chaya Guno Deho Dase Chaya Begodomi Chaya Dosha Shodhi Chaya Guno Deho Dase Chaya Sato Sanga Deho He Amare Chaya Sato Sanga Deho He Amare Boshechi Sangero Ashe Boshechi Sangero Ashe Ohe Vaishnava Thakuro Doyara Sagaro Edase Karuna Kori Vaishnava Thakuro Doyara Sagaro Edase Karuna Kori Ekaki Amar Kahi Pai Bala Hari Nama Sankirtane Ekaki Amar Kahi Pai Bala Hari Nama Sankirtane Tumi Kripa Kori Shraddha Bindu Diya Tumi Kripa Kori Shraddha Bindu Diya Deho Krishna Namo Dhane Deho Krishna Namo Dhane Ohe Vaishnava Thakuro Doyara Sagaro Edase Karuna Kori Vaishnava Thakuro Doyara Sagaro Edase Karuna Kori Krishna se Toma Krishna dite Paro Tomar Shakati Yache Krishna se Toma Krishna dite Paro Tomar Shakati Ache Ami to Kanga Krishna Krishna Boli Ami to Kanga Krishna Krishna Boli Bhai tavo pache pache Bhai tavo pache pache ohe Vaishnava Thakura Doyar Sagaro Vedase Karuna Kori Vaishnava Thakura Doyar Sagaro Vedase Karuna Kori Diya Podo Chaya Shodho He Amare Diya Podo Chaya Shodho He Amare Tomar Charana Dhori Tomar Charana Dhori Vaishnava Thakur Jai Vaishnava Thakur 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 Prabhu Kripa Koro More Doya Koro Prabhu Kripa Koro More Doya Koro Prabhu Kripa Koro More Doya Koro Prabhu Kripa Koro More Doya Koro. All Vaishnava Thakurs ki jai. I have never heard that Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur wrote this bhajan for Lord Shiva. It might be that some devotees sing this bhajan for Lord Shiva because, according to Śrīmad Bhagavatam, Vaishnavanam Yatashambhu, he is the best of all Vaishnavas. But I have never heard from any of our Guru Varga that this bhajan was written by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur for Lord Shiva. If you do have the proof of it, I would appreciate you posting it. So maybe you can do some research and send it to us. Now we will call out for the mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami. Young Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata, page 47 by Sri Madhava Das, one of the favorites of our Srila Gurudev. And really, a lot of the same could be sung for our Gurudev, as well as our Srila Prabhupada. But this one is specifically written for Srila Rupa Goswami. Yang Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata, Yang Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata, Yang Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata, Yang Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata, Tan Braja Prema Mahanidhi Kutharika, hangsono pano vidhayano nirakira hangsono pano vidhayano kono pritaka kari payato kono pritaka kari payato ko sab tyaji bhaji vrindavano ko sab tyaji bhaji vrindavano ko sab grantha virachita ko sab grantha virachita yang kali rupa sharira nadharata yang kali rupa sharira nadharata jab pitu vana pula kalata nana vidha jab pitu vana pula kalata nana vidha manoraji arobindo manoraji arobindo somadhukaro binu panakon jano to somadhukaro binu panakon jano to vidyamano kari bandha vidyamano kari bandha yang kali rupa sharira nadharata yang kali rupa sharira nadharata ko janato mathura vrindavano ko janato mathura vrindavano ko janato prajanito ko janato prajanito ko janato radha madhavarati ko janato radha madhavarati ko janato soitrito ko janato soitrito yang kali rupa sharira nadharata yang kali rupa sharira nadharata jakar charana prasade sakala jano jakar charana prasade sakala jano gai gavai sukha pavato gai gavai sukha pavato charana kamale sharanagatavadho charana kamale तव महिमा उरनागता यं कलिरूप शरीरनाधारत यं कलिरूप शरीरनाधारत तन्व्रज प्रेम महानिधि कुठरिक तन्व्रज प्रेम महानिधि कुठरिक पौनकपात उघारत पौनकपात उघारत यं कलिरूप शरीरनाधारत यं कलिरूप शरीरनाधारत रूप गोस्वामी प्रभु रूप गोस्वामी रूप गोस्वामी प्रभु रूप गोस्वामी रूप गोस्वामी रूप गोस्वामी रूप गोस्वामी रूप गोस्वामी रूप गोस्वामी प्रभु 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 है 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 रूपा 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 है श्रील रूप गोस्वामी पाद की जय श्री सद् गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय And now we will call out for the grace, the blessings, the mercy of Shri Nityananda Prabhu. Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Jai Jai Nityananda Rohini Kumar, page 64 by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Quick ad for free. Yogi Kārtika. It's not coming out. Yeah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakto Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakto Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तो वृंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तो वृंद जय जय नित्यानंद रोहिणी कुमार जय जय नित्यानंद रोहिणी कुमार पतित उद्धारो लागी दुबाहु पसार पतित उद्धारो लागी दुबाहु पसार गद गद मधुर यादो बोल गद गद मधुर यादो बोल जारे देखे तारे प्रेमे भोरी देय कोल जारे देखे तारे प्रेमे भोरी देय कोल लगमगलोचन भू रये निरन्तर लगमगलोचन भू रये निरन्तर सोनारो कमले जेनो हृदये भ्रमर सोनारो कमले जेनो हृदये भ्रमर दोयारो ठाकुर नेताय पर दुख जाने दोयारो ठाकुर नेताय पर दुख जाने हरि नामे माला गाथी दिलो जग जाने हरि नामे माला गाथी दिलो जग जाने आपि पाशंदी जतो पुरिलो दलन पापि पाशंदी जतो पुरिलो दलन दिनो दिनो जाने कोइला प्रेम वितरण दिनो दिनो जाने कोइला प्रेम वितरण आहारे गौरंग बोली करे भूमि तले Nitai he, Nitai he, Nitai he, Nitai he, Nitai he, Nitai he, Nitai he. पतित पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। Emon Gauranga Bina Nahi Ar, page 69 by Srila Premananda Das Thakur. If you do not have the bhajan Gauriya Giti Guccha, then Jiva Pavana Prabhu very kindly posts the bhajans in the comment section of the thread here. So just scroll to his most recent post. Emon Gauranga Bina Nahi Ar. Emon Gauranga Bina Nahi Ar. Prema Paraja Heno Yavata Habe ki hoye che Heno Prema Paraja Remo Gorango Bina Nahi Patita Pashundi Prane no Marilo Kare Duramati Yoti Patita Pashundi Prane no Marilo Kare Hari Namo Diya Hridaya Shodhi Hridaya Shodhino Jachi Giya Ghare Ghare Jachi Giya Ghare Ghare Gorango Bina Nahi Gorango Bina Nahi বাঞ্ছিত যে প্রেম জগতে ফেলিল ধানি ভববিরিঞ্চির বাঞ্ছিত যে প্রেম জগতে ফেলিল ধানি কাঙ্গালে পাইয়া খাইল নাচিয়া কাঙ্গালে পাইয়া খাইল নাচিয়া বাজাইয়া করতালি বাজাইয়া করতালি গৌরাঙ্গ বিনা নাহি গৌরাঙ্গ বিনা নাহি গৌরাঙ্গ বিনা নাহি গৌরাঙ্গ বিনা নাহি হাসিয়া কাঁদিয়া প্রেমে গলা গলি পুলকে ব্যাপিল অঙ্গ হাসিয়া কাঁদিয়া প্রেমে গলা গলি পুলকে ব্যাপিল অঙ্গ চন্দালে ব্রাহ্মণে করে কোলাকুলি চন্দালে ব্রাহ্মণে করে কোলাকুলি কবে বাঁচিল এ রঙ্গ কবে বাঁচিল এ রঙ্গ এমন গৌরাঙ্গ বিনা নাহি গৌরাঙ্গ বিনা নাহি গৌরাঙ্গ বিনা নাহি গৌরাঙ্গ বিনা নাহি তাকিও হাকিয়া খোল কর তালে গাইয়া ধাইয়া ফিরে রাখিয়া হাকিয়া কোল কর তালে গাইয়া ধাইয়া ফিরে দেখিয়া সম তরাস পাইয়া দেখিয়া সম তরাস পাইয়া কপাত হানিল দ্বারে কপাত হানিল দ্বারে এমন গৌরাঙ্গ বিনা নাহি গৌরাঙ্গ বিনা নাহি গৌরাঙ্গ বিনা নাহি গৌরাঙ্গ বিনা নাহি এ তিন ভুবন আনন্দে ভরিল উঠিল মঙ্গল এই তিন ভুবন আনন্দে ভরিল উঠিল মঙ্গল কহে প্রেমানন্দ এমন গৌরাঙ্গে কহে প্রেমানন্দ এমন গৌরাঙ্গে রতি না জন্মিল Gaurango bina nahi aare mo. 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 Gaurango bina nahi aare. Shachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Shachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Shachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Shachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Gaura He, 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 Gaura He. Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. So I see a comment here. Fill out the senses as much as possible with Krishna. Be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. Our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta, Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, quite often while giving Harikatha, so many devotees would be distracted, looking at their phones, doodling, making garlands, sewing for their Thakujis, taking care of babies, doing anything else. And Srila Gurudev would tell us, stop everything else and give me all of your senses. Give all of it. Completely focused, so that I can give Harikatha. Harikatha is actually Krishna. So using all of the senses in the service of Krishna at the time of Harikatha, not just the ears, he said all of your senses, everything. That's a pretty powerful request. But the result of that, if one actually did so, would be amazingly powerful and beneficial. According to Jaiva Dharma, chapter 16, we were created exactly the way we needed to be created, because Krishna does not make any mistake. We, in essence, are playing a part in Krishna's Kripa Lila. He has unlimited qualities. And among his most prominent qualities, perhaps his most prominent quality, that's what we've read in Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam, is his karunata, his mercy quality. So his mercy needs a place to go. Because his mercy needs a place to go, it also requires that there are those who need to receive it. This is all part of Krishna's own internal potency plan. And so we, the bound jivas, are, in essence, the best qualified potential recipients and needy of that mercy. Krishna desires to give it. We are in a position where we can serve Krishna by accepting it. And that mercy comes here especially in the form of his condensed mercy as Sri Guru, the spiritual master, the pure Vaishnavas. And the question came, but why were we made to suffer? Following with the answer, how can you accuse him of being like that? He's running after you, giving every opportunity, going from door to door, begging you, Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. And you're trying to accuse him of being unfair. All you have to do is hold on. As Nityananda Prabhu said, you say the name of my Gauranga even once, and you can purchase me. So many are eternal associates of Krishna in Vrindavan or in any other Leela, and we are in this material world as potential recipients of his mercy. And if we grab onto that mercy, then we will be serving his Kripa Leela. Yes, that's true, Mamata. For some people, it is necessary to do other things. There was one devotee who used to travel with us, and he could not concentrate for anything if he just had to sit there. So we got him a coloring book and some coloring pencils, and then after we'd test him on what he heard, and he would be able to repeat almost everything back verbatim. So it's different strokes for different folks, but anyhow, our Srila Gurudev was making a point. Don't distract yourself with anything else. Give me your full attention, and I will give you my full heart. Now we will call for the mercy, the grace, the shelter of Krishna. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dīna Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanta Namostute. Here's one that will make sense to all of us. Gopinath Mama Nivedana Shuno. Bhaktivedānta Thakur is telling Gopinath, this is my condition, this is my prayer. See my condition, and then he's offering the prayer along with it. And we can all relate. Well, I can't say for you, but we can all relate. I'm doing the Gaudiya tune, which I learned from Krishna Das Prabhu. Gopina Mama Nivedana Shuno Gopina Mama Nivedana Shuno Vishayi Durjano Sada Kamoroto Kichu Nahi Moro Vishayi Durjano Sada Kamoroto Kichu Nahi Moro Guno Gopinath Amaro Bharosa Tumi Gopinath Amaro Bharosa Tumi Omaro Charane Loinu Sharano কেমনে শোধিবে মোরে গোপীনাথ, কেমনে শোধিবে মোরে, না জানি ভকতি কর্মে জড়মতি, ন জানি ভকতি কর্মে জড়মতি, ওরেছি সংসার ঘোরে গোপীনাথ, ওরেছি সংসার ঘোরে গোপীনাথ, সকলি তোমার মায়া গোপীনাথ, সকলি তোমার মায়া, নাহি মম বল জ্ঞান সুনির্মল, নাহি মম বল জ্ঞান সুনির্মল, স্বাধীন নহে কায়া, স্বাধীনা নহে কায় গোপীনাথ, নিয়ত চরণে স্থান গোপীনাথ, নিয়ত চরণে স্থান, মাগে পামর কাঁদিয়া কাঁদিয়া, মাগে পামর কাঁদিয়া কাঁদিয়া, করো হে করুণাদান গোপীনাথ, করো হে করুণাদান গোপীনাথ, তুমি তো সকলি পারো গোপীনাথ, তুমি তো সকলি পারো, দুর্জনে তারিতে তোমার শক্তি, দুর্জনে তারিতে তোমার শক্তি, কে আছে পাপীরায়ার গোপীনাথ, কে আছে পাপীরায়ার গোপীনাথ, তুমি কৃপা পারো বারো গোপীনাথ, তুমি কৃপা পারো বারো, জীবের কারণে আসিয়া প্রপঞ্চে, জীবের কারণে আসিয়া প্রপঞ্চে, লীলা কইলে সুবিস্তার গোপীনাথ, লীলা কইলে সুবিস্তার গোপীনাথ, আমি কি দোষের দোষী গোপীনাথ, আমি কি দোষের দোষী, অসুর সকল পাইল চরণ, অসুর সকল পাইল চরণ, বিনোদ থাকিল বসি, বিনোদ থাকিল বসি, ও অসুর সকল পাইল চরণ, বিনোদ থাকিল বসি, বিনোদ থাকিল বসি গোপীনাথ, মম নিবেদন শুনো গোপীনাথ, মম নিবেদন শুনো, রাধা গোপীনাথ, রাধা গোপীনাথ, রাধা গোপীনাথ, রাধা গোপীনাথ, রাধা গোপীনাথ, রাধা গোপীনাথ, গোপীনাথ রাধা গোপীনাথ, রাধা গোপীনাথ, রাধা গোপীনাথ, Gopinatho, Radha Gopinatho, Radha Gopinatho, Radha Gopinatho, Gopinatho, Radha Gopinatho. Shri Radha Gopinath Ki Jai. Radha Bhajane Jadi Mati Nahi Bhela. Page 110 by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. Sudevi, can you arrange some more water for me, please? Radha bhajane jadi mati nahi bhela, Krishna bhajana tava akaran gela. Radha bhajane jadi mati nahi bhela, Krishna bhajana tava akaran gela. Ato parohito suraj nahi jani, ato parohito suraj nahi jani. Radha virohito madhav nahi mani, Radha virohito madhav nahi mani. Kevalo madhavo pujaye so agyani, Radhayana doro koroya bhimani. Kevalo madhavo pujaye so agyani, Radhayana doro koroya bhimani. Kamohi nahi karobi takara sango, kamohi nahi karobi takara sango. Chitte ichhasi jadi brajarasaranga, chitte ichhasi jadi brajarasaranga. Radhika dasi jadi hoy abhimano, shigrai milai tava gokulakano. Radhika dasi jadi hoy abhimano, shigrai milai tava gokulakano. Brahma Shiva Narado Shruti Narayani, Brahma Shiva Narado Shruti Narayani. Radhika padaraja pujaye mani, Radhika padaraja pujaye mani. Umarama satya shochi chandra rupini, Radha avataro sabe avtaro sobe amnayamani Eno radha paricharja jakoro dhono Eno radha paricharja jakoro dhono Bhakti vinodatar magaye charana Bhakti vinodatar magaye charana Radha bhajane jadi mati nahi bhela Krishna bhajana tavo akarono gela Radha bhajane jadi mati nahi bhela Krishna bhajana tavo akarono gela Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Śrī Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Śrī Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Vrishabhanandini Srimati Radharani ki jai. And Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam, page 290, 290. Not that I need to tell anyone, but it has been a while since we were doing it every day consistently. And Devaki, Didi, which version are we doing? Dandava Pranam Nimai Chaitanya Lalita Asaki, all Vaishnavas Dandava Pranam. Krishna. By Śrī Satyavrata Muni, page 290, Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. I don't see Devaki here. I think we're doing the version we grew up with. Namamishwaram Sachit Anandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashodabhiyolukaladhavamanam Param Vishnam Atyantoto Drutya Gopya Prudantam Muhurnetro Yugmam Brijantam Param Bhoja Yugmeno Shatankanetram Muhu Shvasakam Patri Rekhankakanta Stita Graivo Damodaram Bhaktivedāntam Iti Driksvalilabhi Ananda Kunde Svaghoshamnimajantam Akyapayantam Adiyeshitajeshu Bhaktairjitatvam Puna Prema Tastam Shatavritti Mande Varam Deva Moksham Na Shavadhim ma na chanyam dreneham vare shadapiha idam teva purnato gopalabalam sada me manosya virashtam chimanyai idam te mukham bhojam avyaktanilai vritam kunthalai snigdharaktaischa gopya muhushchumbitam bimbaraktadharam me manasya virastam alam lakshalabhai namo devo damodarananta vishnu prasida prabhu duka jalabhimagnam kripa drishti vrishyati dinam batanu grihanesha mamabhyam vidyakshidrishya kuveratmo jobadha murtyaiva yadva vayamochito bhakti bhajo krito cha atha premo bhaktin sakame prayacha namokshe graho mesti damodareha namaste studame spuradipidhame vadiyodarayato vishvasya dhamne namo radhikayai todiya priyayai namo nantadilaya devaya tubhyam namo radhikayai todiya priyayai namo nantadilaya devaya tubhyam Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Shri Gurudev ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Rupan Guru Varga ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swami Nitya Namine Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate giring Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurung Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishna Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashat Shri Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishna Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashat Shri Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And to all of our Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present, and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe Radhe, Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Shyam. Dandavat Pranam. Can we take that question today about how Guru of different sampradaya cannot bestow upon this sadhak the mood that he desires, like Manjari Bhav, since Guru is complete? What an interesting question. Guru, Akhanda Guru Tattva means complete. The complete, unbroken, full, whole concept of Guru Tattva. That is Baladev Prabhu or Nityananda Prabhu. Different gurus of different parampara can give you according to what they have realized. And our Srila Gurudev spoke extensively on this subject. Anyone can only give you up to what they have. So any guru who is complete and perfect in dasya ras, dasya prem, pure love in the mood of a servant, they can give you up to that. But they cannot give you beyond that, because their fixed bhav, their sthayi bhav is dasya prem. They can help you up to a certain point, but then they will naturally send you onward or forward to any spiritual master who has all of the ingredients that you require for your perfection. Any guru of sakyaras can give you up to what they have. If their eternal inherent identity, their siddha deha, their eternal form and relationship with Krishna is as a cowherd-boy, they can nourish you up to that level. But they cannot awaken within your heart if your soul is meant to be, let's say, in Vatsalya Prem or Madhurya Ras. They cannot give you that much. They can give you up to what they have. Any guru in Vatsalya Prem, in Vatsalya Ras, they can awaken Dasya Ras, they can awaken Sakya Ras, they can awaken Vatsalya Ras, but they cannot give you Gopi Prem. They cannot give you Madhurya Ras. They can only give you up to what they have. Any guru in Madhurya Ras, because that is the highest rasa, then they can also awaken and nourish anyone in Dasya Ras, Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras. They can give all or nourish all relationships, and yet still, because their focus is exclusively Madhurya Rasa, they also would naturally send you to any guru who would be focused exclusively on that particular ras, which will bring your Atma to its perfection. For example, Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Mahārāja is perfectly capable of nourishing anyone in Dasya Ras towards Śrī Ram, because within that Madhurya Ras, all capabilities are present. And yet, his exclusive focus is service to the lotus feet of Shri Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. For a bhakta of Ram, they would want to always hear the katha of Ram. And in the association of those who are only or mostly 99% speaking about Radha and Krishna, they might not get that particular nourishment. So naturally, Shri Guru would arrange any Shiksha Guru who would inspire them according to the necessity of their particular Atma's necessity of service. So from one perspective, Guru is one because Guru is Krishna. Vande Krishna Jagat Gurum. Guru is one, our Srila Prabhupada said, who appears in an infinity of forms to teach you, me, and all others. So that same one is manifesting in different forms according to our necessities. So from one perspective, you can say, yes, any guru can give anything because in essence, guru is Krishna. But there is also the individual or the person. There's the tattva and then there's the person, the rasa. And so from different perspectives, we can look at it. In general, all gurus can tell us about Jiva Tattva, about Bhagavat Tattva, Maya Tattva, but not all gurus can give us nourishment in, let's say, Brajaras. A guru of Dasyaras or Aishwarya in Vaikuntha, they are qualified to bring you to there, maybe in Śrī Sampradaya. But are they qualified to bring you to Madhurya Ras in Braj? Only that person whose heart is overflowing with those transcendental sentiments. Only that kind of person is capable of awakening those transcendental sentiments in your heart and bringing you to that service. That's why Rupa Goswami says in Upadeshamrita verse 8, Tishthan Braje Tad Anuragi Jananugami. Always residing in Braj, in the association under the guidance of Anuragi Jan, the eternal associates of the Lord who have that same mood that you are aspiring for, whose hearts are overflowing with deep, loving attachment to Krishna, day and night. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita actually gives that breakdown, one verse after the next, stating that only one in Madhurya Ras, only a gopi, in essence, can broadcast gopi bhav all over the world. No other rasa can do so. Not Vatsalya Ras, not Sakya Ras, not even Priyanarma Sakhas. It is there stated directly in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and also in the commentaries. But it's the maximum of every rasa is contained within that highest rasa, you can say. Within Madhurya Ras, you have the maximum completeness of Vatsalya. Within Vatsalya, you will have the maximum completeness of Sakya. Within Sakya, you'll have the maximum completeness of Dasya. That means within Madhurya, you have the maximum completeness of all rasas. And so Madhurya Rasa, associate of Krishna, is able to nourish all other rasas. Let me just see here. Okay, I hope that was enough. Just wanted to share that. Also, I wanted to just mention a couple things about Rasikananda Prabhu from yesterday. And I'm looking at the time here. Okay, we have a few minutes. So Sri Rasikananda Prabhu, he was the disciple of, maybe not the only disciple, but the prominent disciple of Sri Shyamananda. In the glorification of Rasikananda Prabhu, because Shyamananda's mood is that of a gopi of Vrindavan. In fact, he had a guru. It's interesting you ask this question because Shyamananda had accepted a guru in Sakya Rasa. His name was Hriday Chaitanya. So Hriday Chaitanya, actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered his heart. So he got that name, Hriday Chaitanya. He was in Sakya Ras. And this Shyamananda, previously his name was Krishnadas. But his name was Dukhi Krishnadas. He had been sad when he was young. They called him sad. Maybe to protect him from any negative influences. No one wants to go near anyone that's always sad, right? So none of the ghosts want to go there. They called Gauranga Nimai. He was born under a neem tree, but neem is bitter. Who wants to eat neem leaves? So different names are given to protect the children. So his name was Dukhi, and then later on became known as Krishnadas. They called him Dukhi Krishnadas. And so he had taken shelter of this Hriday Chaitanya. Hriday Chaitanya was in Sakya Ras. This Dukhi Krishnadas, his natural inclination of his Atma, of his soul, was in Madhurya Rasa. So Dukhi Krishnadas could not be nourished to his full potential. His Gurudev sent him to Vrindavan to be under the guidance of Jiva Goswami. Some say that there was some discrepancy and upsettedness and that Hridaya Chaitanya was really upset, but our Gurudev begs to differ on this point. He said in those days it wasn't like that. Everyone worked together to try to bring that jiva toward perfection. There wasn't this kind of mood of claiming, you are mine, like we see now. How dare you go there? How dare you go there? Everyone worked together to nourish that jiva to its perfection. So Hridaya Chaitanya had sent his disciple for onward, or you can call it postgraduate studies, because he could nourish him up to a certain point, but he knew his disciple needed to progress further. So under the guidance of Jiva Goswami, this Dukhi Krishna Das, there's a whole long katha, I'm not going to get into it, but this Dukhi Krishna Das later became known as Shyamananda by receiving the mercy directly of Srimati Kārtika by the grace of Jiva Goswami. And he is in that form of a gopi. So Srila Bhaktivedānta Tirtha Mahārāja, in his glorification of this prominent disciple of Sri Shyamananda Prabhu, has said that we can assume that Rasikananda is in Madhurya Ras, because he has taken shelter in that mood under that guru of Madhurya Rasa in this case. So this Rasikananda Prabhu, many things are told about him. One thing that's amazing is that he was not ordinary or even worldly. He looked otherworldly. He had a darkish complexion like Krishna. And even his disappearance from this world was not ordinary. It was like that of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu entered into the form of Tota Gopinath. In the same way, this Rasikananda entered into the form of Gopinath in Remuna. That same Gopinath who stole Kheer for Madhavendra Puri. That's how this Rasikananda disappeared. So he was no ordinary personality. He was a very, very powerful preacher. Very powerful preacher. And he preached the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and of his Gurudev, Sri Shyamananda Prabhu, all over. Very fiercely, very boldly. And because of telling the truth, so many enemies come. So many want to shut down the truth. So, a few things happened in the life of Sri Rasikananda. Thank you, Jiva Pavana Prabhu. I like it. So many things happened in the life history of Rasikananda, mostly in terms of his preaching. One thing is that so many became very upset with him because he came from a very, you could say, noble background. And he took initiation from someone whom those of high noble birth considered to be beneath himself. In other words, he kind of broke the trend of the time, as did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as did Advaitacharya with Haridas Thakur, as did Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Gosvāmī, as did Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhaktivedānta Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, all of our acharyas. So many of them, because they were preaching the truth of Shastra boldly, glorifying Vaishnavas, Vaishnava Tattva, as nearest and dearest to the Lord. So many became upset because of losing their money, of losing their position, of losing their power and their influence. So many persons of different varna were becoming upset. And so they arranged to create problems for them, or even tried to kill them on many occasions, as we've seen with all of these acharyas I've just mentioned. Many of them there was attempts on their life because of preaching the truth and also for initiating above their own caste or taking initiation from someone below their caste. So this Rasikananda took initiation from Sri Shyamananda. Sri Shyamananda, according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, anyone who judges a Vaishnava according to their birth or their activities before coming to the path of bhakti They are aparadhis, and they are paving their way to hell. Vaishnavas considered the topmost of all top personalities. And so to judge them by their birth, hey, you weren't born in a Brahmin family, you have no right. This is considered very offensive, aparad. These days also we find different groups of Gaudiya Vaishnava devotees, even those who claim to be disciples of our own Gurudev, and other groups of Gaudiya Vaishnavas who claim to be Saraswat, means coming in the line of Bhaktivedānta Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, Saraswat Vaishnavas, who are also subscribing to these ideas which are directly against the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all of our Guru Varga, and still claiming to be representing them. So these kinds of things are creeping in because there's no very powerful personality at the moment who is strongly preaching against all of these misunderstandings, or not just misunderstandings, it's direct, you could say, apasiddhantas. Misunderstanding is one thing. It's like, oh, I made a mistake. I didn't. But actually knowing that truth and going against it, that's another thing. So, Rasika Ananda, what was he doing? He was initiating Brahmins. He was initiating so many different personalities from so many different backgrounds. Even doing the unthinkable. He was initiating Muslims into Vaishnavism. Now, in those days, it was considered that even if their shadow touched you, you would lose your caste. What to speak of that? If they threw one drop of water on you, you would lose your caste. Rupa and Sanatan worked for the Muslim government and their younger brother as well, Anupam. Rupa Goswami was the private secretary, Sanatana Goswami was the prime minister, and the younger brother was the treasurer. So these are very high positions within that, and they were so integrated that Sanatana Goswami got the name Sakar Malik, and Rupa Goswami got the name Dabir Khash. In other words, from a generic Brahmin perspective, even of today, they would be considered untouchables. But what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do when he saw Sanatana Goswami? He embraced him. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was an amazing revolutionary. And Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, we see their character, we see their glories. They are greater than any varna or ashram. They're beyond all of that. Rupa Goswami is Śrī Rupa Manjari, Sanatana Goswami is Lavanga Manjari. I mean, they're not ordinary personalities. And through these pastimes which we see in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, we realize that to judge a Vaishnava according to their birth or their activities before coming to the path of bhakti, this is extremely detrimental for one's progress on the path of devotion. So many tried to kill Sri Rasikananda Prabhu because of his very powerful preaching. In one place I read that it was the Brahmanas who tried to set him up to be trampled on by an elephant. In another place I read it was the Muslims. In either case, so many wanted to remove him because he was preaching so powerfully. What happened to that elephant? That elephant was mad and wild, and they had arranged that he would be in a certain place where that mad elephant would kill him. Instead, that mad elephant did the same thing to him that the mad elephant that Hiranyakashipu arranged to kill Prahlad did to Prahlad. Not the same thing, but became subservient to him. In all of the different writings it said, this elephant became his disciple. Means it became subservient to him. So this Sri Rasikananda was no ordinary personality. He was preaching very powerfully the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his Gurudev and his Guru Varga. And so I just wanted to share a few of those anecdotes that I have received from different acharyas on that point. So from there, Sri Rasikananda Prabhu ki jai. The subject matter that we were discussing about caste and Vaishnavism. It keeps coming up on almost every single holy day. We heard it on the days of Bhaktivedānta Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Rasikananda, of course Advaita Acharya, the Haridas Thakur, Rupa and Sanatan, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Again and again, this idea, these considerations are brought to the forefront, because what is caste? Really? I'm taking birth in a family due to any previous impressions. So I took birth in a family of devotees of Krishna in this lifetime, in Los Angeles, California. Others took birth here in Vrindavan, in a family of Brahmins. So many persons who are born in families of Brahmins endeavor to go to the West and live a life of mundane material luxury. So many ask me, do you know any Western girl that I can marry? What is the contemplation? What is qualification? Qualification is not based on birth. It's not even based on upbringing. It's based on the individual's attraction to and adherence to the pure devotees and Krishna. Like our Srila Prabhupada said, the test of all of one's education is that when they see a sadhu, they will fall flat like a stick before him. This is the test of all of one's education. So claiming position and power because of my birth, this is actually directly unfavorable for bhakti in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it is not that we do not respect those who are taking birth in different situations. To take birth in a family of Brahmins is a high birth, but what one does with it, that's the thing. To take birth in a family of devotees is considered a high birth. It means in previous lifetimes we've done so much to take birth in a situation. But what one does with it, that's what matters. If one is taking birth in a family of butchers, and I know some devotees who are born like that and even were doing those activities, and now they're some of the most sweet, soft-hearted, respectful and humble devotees of Krishna that I know. What is Krishna attracted to? Is he attracted to someone's pride of birth and their position? Or is he attracted to someone's sincerity? If someone is feeling themselves truly low and crying out and praying from that position. Jagai and Madai were also born in families of Brahmins, but did every sinful activity millions of times that we could ever imagine. But then when they surrendered to Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then they became qualified. And we don't judge them for all of the activities they did beforehand, but we see their qualities of humility, of service, of devotion, of dedication. So bhakti is not about age. Bhakti is not about birth. Bhakti is not about when someone took initiation. Bhakti is not about skin color. Bhakti is not about what race or what sex or any other thing. All of these things are external. Bhakti is the nature of every jiva. Jivera Swarupahoy Krishner Nitya Das. And to the extent that that has been awakened in someone, to that extent they are respectable. And why am I saying this? Rupa Goswami says in the 5th verse of Upadeshamrita, Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshashti chet pranati bhishcha bhajantamesham that one should respect Vaishnavas according to their qualification, their depth, their level of devotion, of bhakti. For someone who's Kanishta Vaishnava, they have honor and respect for their Gurudev and for Thakurji, but they don't know how to honor other Vaishnavas properly. So, manasadriyeta. Within the mind, you should give them respect, but if you give them too much respect physically, this could easily go to their head and actually become detrimental. So, within the mind, manasadriyeta. They're chanting the holy name, they have faith in Gurudev and in Krishna, but they don't know how to honor Vaishnavas properly within the mind. Dikshashti chet pranatibhish chabajantimisham. For that person who has taken diksha, who is actually embarking seriously on the path of bhajan, pranatibhish chabajantam isha, they're doing bhajan. For that person, then pancha kalpatarubhyascha, we do pranam to those persons because they are considered like madhyam adhikari. Shushrushaya bhajana vigyam ananyamanya nindadi shunyam hridam ipsita sangalabhya. And for that person who's uttam bhagavat, who has no envy, no jealousy within their heart, ninda adi shunyam means they have no tendency to make any aparad or offense, who's exclusively devoted to their Ishtadev, Ananyam, Ananya Bhakti, one-pointed, exclusive Bhakti, day and night, 24 hours, constantly serving the names, forms, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna. Shrushrushaya, one should surrender their everything, mind, body, words, heart, soul, everything, at the lotus feet of such a personality. So according to one's gradation in bhakti, Rupa Goswami advises that we respect and honor accordingly. It's not the same across the board. Same with Harinam, as we discussed before. The name might be the same, or the sound might be the same, but the quality is different. The Uttam's chanting of the holy names of the Lord is different than the Madhyam, is different than the Kanishta, is different than the atheist, or the Mayavadi, or the Aparadhi. There's a vast difference between the chanting of that one and that one. In the same way, there are different levels of personalities, and according to one's gradation of devotion, they are respected accordingly. So, now we will go into Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam for a little bit. This is by Śrī Satyavrata Muni, composed over millions of years, placed in Padma Purana by Ved Vyas, commented on by Śrī Sanātana Gosvāmī, his commentary is in here, then commented on by our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Mahārāja, along with his own Bhav Anuvad, that is the translation of Sanātana Goswami's commentary with his own commentary injected within it. And then that is followed by the commentary of our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Goswami Mahārāja. So before entering into this beautiful treasure and examining its contents, we will pray in the dust of the lotus feet of these divine personalities. In the words of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Vairāga Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatnair Apayanan Mam Anubhipshamandam Kripam Budirya Paradu Kuduki Sanatanastam Prabhum Ashrayami. Begging in the dust of their lotus feet that may even a particle of their moods that are present within these pages manifest itself within our hearts. Thank you, Raghava Prabhu, for posting that. One should not, even within one's own mind, beat the drum of self-glory thinking, I have performed service. Otherwise, one's service cannot be called seva. That's also in that bhajan. If I think I'm a Vaishnava, a real Vaishnava never thinks I am a Vaishnava. That person who thinks I'm a Vaishnava, they're doing the same thing. It's kind of like this caste consciousness, trying to place themselves up in some high post so that they can lord it over others, as Srila Prabhupada would say. So thank you, Raghava, for sharing that. One thing I want to also share is that Raghunath Das Goswami in this first verse of Manashiksha is telling us, Guru, Guro Goshthe Goshtalesu Sujane Bhusurugane Svamantre Śrī Namni Vrajanavayubadvanda Sharane Sada Dambam Hitpa Kururitima Purvama Titaram Ayesvantar Vratas Chatubir Abhiyache Dritapada. So he's actually telling his mind to give proper honor and respect to the Brajabasis, to Gurudev, to his mantras, but also Bhusuragane, to the Brahmins. So he's not denouncing everyone. He's giving honor and respect to all personalities, to all of the Vaishnavas, to all of the Brajabasis, to the Brahmins as well. We should not disrespect Brahmins. But Brahman, according to Shastra, is known by qualification. Chaturvarnyam maya shishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha. Krishna says in Sri Bhagavad Gita that anyone is known according to their guna and karma. Guna means qualities and karma means activities. So one can be placed in essence by their qualities and activities. It's not just the claiming. One can say, I'm a Vaishnava, how dare you? But what is the quality? If someone is behaving as such, without this mood of trinarapi sunichena tarorapi suhishnuna, without that humility, or someone is claiming to be a Brahmin but doing all kinds of horrific, sinful activities against Shastra, then you cannot claim to be in this position. In the same way, one cannot claim to be a disciple of any guru. Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Mahārāja tells, if we're going to act in opposition to everything that Guru has given us, then how can we claim to be a disciple? Maybe I have accepted initiation from, I've received mantra from, but what is a disciple? Srila Gaura Govinda Mahārāja says, a disciple is one who voluntarily places themselves in a position where severe discipline will be inflicted upon them by their Guru. This is disciple. So, how many of us are really disciples? This is a very interesting question, something for us to ponder. When, oh when, will that day come when I will become sincere enough to actually accept the discipline of Gurudev? When, oh when, will that day come that I will become a real disciple? To say I am a disciple of so-and-so also, this can be a source of pride and arrogance. Right? Well, my guru is so-and-so, so, right? People also have this. I was born a devotee. Well, my guru, right? We get these conversations and it's just ego flying back and forth. But when you see real Vaishnavas, how much sweetness in their conversation, how much humility is present there, then it really is an eye-opener. It melts the heart to see that. And when we see their behavior, then we can learn to emulate that behavior. Like our Gurudev told that one devotee, that is not a question. You should sit in our classes and hear how the Vaishnavas communicate with Gurudev and how Gurudev responds. Then after some time, you will learn how to ask proper questions. So by being in the association of high-class Vaishnavas and seeing their behavior, then also we can gradually develop that kind of behavior. O Gurudev, Koro More Atmasa. Take my heart, take my Atma, and make it like yours, or make me yours. Oops. So we're in the 7th verse. Kuveratmajo badha murtyaiva yadvat tvayamochito bhakti bhajo krito cha tata prema bhaktin swakame prayacha namokshe graho mesti damodareha namami shwaram sachidananda rupam lasat kundalam gokule brajamanam. So we're in the Digdarshani Vritti commentary of our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. So Srila Gurudev was telling previously how 4 disqualifications are there for bhakti. And it's interesting that we've been discussing this point. In this case, of Nalakuvera and Nalakuvara Manigriva. They were the sons of Kuvera, the god of wealth. They're also demigods. So they have very high birth. They have excessive wealth. They have extreme education and amazing bodily beauty. Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shri. And these, according to Queen Kunti, are disqualifications for bhakti. So she was admitting that I have these 4 qualifications which are always making me forget you, my Lord. So please send these calamities again and again so that we can have your darshan, so that we can remember you, so that we can see you. This is the prayer of Queen Kunti. So Narada Muni had cursed them because they were offensive toward him and they were quite naked. So he said, you want to be naked in public like this? Okay, then you can become trees. As soon as Narada Muni cursed them, boom, they started becoming trees. They realized their mistake. They fell at his feet and begged forgiveness. And then Narada Muni told them, you will take birth as these twin Arjuna trees, and you will wait for some time, and Krishna himself will personally come and liberate you. So it so happened that, according to the desire or the curse of Narada Muni, which was also a blessing, in the future, around 5,000 something years ago, Nanda Baba and Yashoda Maya took up their residence in Gokul, and those trees were already there. And so from Krishna's birth, and even before that, these 2, Nalakuvera, Manigriva, as these Yamal Arjun trees, were able to witness all of the sweet pastimes of Krishna. After tying up Sri Krishna, Mother Yashoda returned to the house to churn yogurt. Remember, Krishna tried to stop her from churning yogurt. He was pulling on her cloth. He wanted her attention. Then she left the churning of the yogurt. She went to give him milk. At that time, she heard milk boiling over on the stove. That milk's mood was, if I can't serve Krishna, her capacity to serve Krishna is unlimited, and his capacity to take her love in the form of her milk is also unlimited. I will never get this opportunity to serve Krishna. Then karuna na hoile kandiya kandiya prana nara kibo ar. Weeping and weeping, without the possibility to serve, I have no reason to maintain my life. So that milk, which is also conscious, everything in Braj is conscious. Chidanandam, everything is conscious. The milk decided, I will give up my life, so it started boiling over into the fire. When Yashoda heard that, because her mood is also so compassionate to the devotees. Oh, this devotee wants to serve. That is more essential than Krishna at that moment. Although Krishna was holding on with all of his might, Mother Yashoda instantly took him and put him down and ran to save the boiling milk. Krishna was upset. He was weeping, crying, throwing a tantrum, but she ran to save the milk, as if to say, don't worry, I will engage you in the service of Krishna, pacifying the heart of that devotee. So then Krishna, becoming quite upset, took one pestle from the nearby, small pestle for grinding spice, and broke the bottom of the yogurt pot. Well, what happened? From all the pressure above, all of that yogurt was squirting out everywhere. Krishna was marveling at the wonderful show. Yogurt was squirting everywhere, and he was so happy. And then, well, as little kids do, he didn't realize that he also got his feet in it. So he ran to the other room. He was going to go outside to escape. He knew he would get in trouble, but Krishna's mind is chanchal, very flickering. He's not one-pointed at all. He is bahunishta, very multi-pointed. So as he's running to escape, suddenly he's like, oh, look it, butter hanging from the rafters in the storeroom. He forgot what he was doing. So he turned over the grinding mortar, stepped on the grinding mortar, and was reaching into that pot, stealing butter, eating it, giving it to monkeys and crows. It is said those monkeys and the crows were basically the ones who were helping Śrī Ram to build the bridge to Lanka. And the crows are descendants of Kakubhashandi, the crow who taught Garud humility. This crow was an associate of Śrī Ramchandra. So these crows were descendants of that, and also those monkeys were, in essence, you can say, reborn into Krishna Lila, and Krishna wanted to be able to repay them because Ram was not able to repay the monkeys at that time. So as Krishna, he was repaying them by giving them butter. But the crows and the monkeys saw something. Krishna had his back to the door. Gurudev said Mother Yashoda was walking very, very stealthily like a cat. A cat can even walk on dry leaves and not make any sound. She had a little stick in her hand and she was walking very, very silently. At that time, the crows and the monkeys went, ah! They all fled. Krishna knew, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. How did she know where to find him? She followed his little yogurt footprints right into the room. Krishna jumped off that grinding mortar, ran out of the house. Mother Yashoda did what she wouldn't normally do. She followed him, chased after him, ran out of the house, into the courtyard. He was like, okay. She'll come into our courtyard, but she would never run into the street. And she was catching up to him, so he started running in a zigzag pattern this way and that way. And she was quite hefty, voluptuous, and she was chasing after him. And he ran out of the courtyard into the street. What Krishna didn't know, but Yashoda knew, today is Diwali day. Everyone's busy at home making preparations for their Diwali festivals, so no one's in the street. Traditionally, ladies, well, it is said that their lajja, their chastity and shyness, is the ornament of a lady. They didn't used to run in public. So for her to do that at that time was a big deal. Radhe Radhe, did we catch it in time? I wouldn't say that she catwalked, but she walked like a cat. Very stealthily. So he ran out into the street, and what freaked him out? She ran after him into the street. She ran after him. And by her prem, because her prem is greater than his, because her love is one-pointed, she was able to run after him with greater speed and catch him. And after a great amount of labored time, I'm not telling all of the details now, she was able to bind him. We told some of that before. So after tying him up, she returned to the house to churn yogurt, because she was not able to complete her task of churning yogurt previously. At that time, Sri Krishna recalled this incident and the statement made by his dear devotee, Sri Narad. Gurudev explains in the first chapter of Secret Truths of the Bhagavatam that one of the many reasons that Krishna had to appear was because of Narad's curse/blessing to these two, Nalakuvara and Manigriva. So Krishna recalled the statement made by his dear devotee Narad, ordaining the deliverance of the two sons of Kuvera, pretending that he was simply playing with his friends. They were coaxing him. He was tied to this grinding mortar, and they were like, anyhow, let's play. So he was having fun, dragging it behind him. So pretending that he was simply playing with his friends, he crawled over to the two Arjuna trees to deliver them, pulling the grinding mortar behind him. When he crawled between the two trees, the grinding mortar became lodged between them. So there was like twins, two trees coming out of one stump. And as he went in between, that grinding mortar stuck. It got lodged between them. And as Sri Krishna pulled it with great force, the massive trees came crashing to the ground, making a tumultuous sound. Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja explained that for one moment Krishna looked back with a little anger. What's stopping me from playing with my friends? He looked back at those trees. He explained that previously Krishna had touched those trees so many times. Nanda Baba would spit at the base of those trees. Those trees witnessed so many of Krishna's pastimes, but why didn't they attain liberation yet? something extra was required. But Krishna looked back at them with that moment of anger. And by this, they were liberated. So here also it is saying, he pulled with great force, the massive trees came crashing to the ground, making a tumultuous sound. From the ancient trees, two heavenly personalities at once emerged, circumambulated Krishna and began offering prayers to him. Krishna then blessed them both with prema bhakti. Those two personalities became the famous narrators, Madhu Kantha and Snigdha Kantha, in Aprakat Braj, the unmanifest Brajadham situated in the heart of the spiritual sky. There they eternally recite the sweet pastimes of Sri Krishna in Sri Nanda Mahārāja's assembly. So, these two, they received such a wonderful benediction from Krishna. In one history, you see that they attained their original forms as demigods. They circumambulated Krishna, they offered prayers, and then they disappeared. But they were there witnessing all of Krishna's pastimes. Something changed in their hearts. Narada Muni's curse was not just a curse, it was a benediction beyond all benedictions, because tata prema bhaktim svakame prayacha. How can they just go back to being demigods? They've been granted, within their heart, they've been awakened with prema bhakti. So just going back to being the sons of Kubera, the god of wealth, and enjoying like that, that's not possible. Not like that. They've already crossed beyond that. They have witnessed all of Krishna's sweet pastimes. And so Krishna awarded them eternal positions as associates of himself in Vrindavan. Madhu Kanta, Snigdha Kanta. Means Madhu Kanta. Kanta means throat, and Madhu means sweet or honey. And Snigdha means with affection. So both of them are always glorifying Krishna's pastimes. Within the meetings of Nanda Baba and all the Brajabasis, they're always reciting the sweet pastimes of Krishna and always witnessing them as well. So we should understand that that curse, that one curse of Narad, although it appeared like a curse, was actually more than any general kind of benediction. From that one curse, sadhu sanga sarva shastre koi, lava matra sadhu sanga sarva siddhi hoy. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita it is stated 3 times, sadhu sanga, sarva shastre koi. All scriptures are telling that lava matra, it literally means 1/11th of a second, but you can just say a micro moment. 1 moment's association with a sadhu is capable of granting complete perfection. Sarva siddhi hoy. Sarva siddhi hoy. So what was this time? They were like, in the beginning, Narada Muni came. They're like, hey, don't disturb. Narada Muni said, you want to behave like this? You want to be naked in public? Then become trees. I'm sorry, please forgive me. You will be liberated by Krishna, and he will give you prema. By that moment's association with Narada Muni, maybe thousands of years, millions of years before, we don't know. But anyhow, by that moment, they came from the position of being intoxicated by their high birth, by their bodily beauty, by their education, and by their wealth, excessive wealth, and enjoying like anything in the company of apsaras, quite naked and taking intoxication. They came from that position and being offensive to sadhus. By that one curse of the sadhu, that one blessing of a curse, they came full circle all the way around to being eternal associates of Krishna in Vrindavan, always glorifying Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes in the association of his eternal associates, his family, his friends, with prema bhakti, with love and affection. What is the power of a moment's association with a sadhu? That is quite amazing. So, Krishna himself personally liberated them and gave them, awarded them Prema Bhakti. Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So we will continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Gaura Hari Paramanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you all very much for being with us today and giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga. Also, we'd like to express our deepest appreciation and indebtedness to each and every one of you for daily giving us the opportunity to follow the order of our Gurudev, which is our life and soul. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Radhe Radhe.
The Rockin' Monkey.
Radha Vino Bihari Ju Ki
Jai.
Shachinandana Gaura Hari
Ki Jai.
Ci vediamo domani.
Ci vediamo domani hasta mañana.
Kal milenge.
Radhe Radhe.